Thank you so much. Welcome to Njathaini community. This is one of the sites where the outreach youth champions have come to actually share their idea with the farmers. Kevin and Stephen are the people, are the outreach youth champions that have actually been working with this community. And today, as you can see behind me, are tents where the outreach youth champions are actually having community engagements where they have brought their idea so that they can be able to explain to the people the importance of having food from January to January. As you can recall, they are trying to arrest the post-harvest loss, and they are doing this through the invention of a drying machine which they are using to actually dry vegetables. And those vegetables, when they are dried, have a lifespan of 6 months. That means that the life of that vegetable has been prolonged, and it means that the people will actually have food for a longer period.
My name is Kevin, a co-founder INFO4FOOD, and I'm working with my co-partner, who is called Stephen Ogweno. And in Njathaini INFO4FOOD CBO, which we have formed with the community here at Njathaini, and we are using dryers to able to dry food. That is mainly vegetables, sukuma wiki, which we are in our pilot project. We are using the sukuma wiki, and we have done quite some amount of drying. And this is the dryer that we are using for drying the vegetables. And as you can see inside here, we have the different compartments. It looks somewhat like an oven. But inside here, we also have something like a stove or something where we light the briquettes. And the briquettes are able to light this metal bar and provides the heat that will be able to dry the sukuma wiki. So the dried sukuma wiki are packed using the packing bags. And this we sell to the community because we believe that dried foods are tastier, and they have some sort of nutritional content, and also they last longer. So through drying, we are increasing the shelf life of the vegetables, and the community are able now to address their food insecurity. And in the INFO4FOOD idea that we came up with, we identified the community which is now Njathaini, and we have formed with them a CBO, which the registration is underway. And we are looking forward to having the registration done next week so that we can now start operating legally. So INFO4FOOD, which is a novel idea, has been made possible by Efsoyc, which has funded the project. And this has gone for 6 months, and we are looking forward to phasing out in December now to end the pilot project. There are quite a lot of things that we have done. And I will want to comment on the trainings that we have done on drying, because drying or using the dryer was some sort of a new concept that we had to take the community through the processes. Because the process of drying consists of blanching, and also how to sorting the vegetables and looking at the good ones, because we cannot dry everything. So those are the trainings that we have also done with the community. So majorly we have done trainings, and also majorly we have been doing drying. Like yesterday we were doing drying, and all these were dried yesterday. We have been drying like on after a fortnight we are drying, or on a weekly basis. So I would say training and drying are part of the things that we have also done. The process of drying first, because you have to have the vegetables themselves. But you don't dry everything. You have to sort out the vegetables and maybe select the good ones. Then after selecting the good ones, you have to wash them to remove the dirt and everything. And after that, you do what we call blanching. So before blanching, you have to remove the stalk, because if you put the vegetable with the stalk, it won't be able to dry evenly. So you have to remove the stalk. And after removing the stalk, then you do what we call blanching. So blanching involves the process of you add salt to a lukewarm water. So the lukewarm water is able now to maintain the color, because we don't want to lose the color. Because even though we are doing the drying, we want also the vegetables to still maintain their green color so that they can be still appealing to people. You know, if it loses the color, then people will be like, is it really vegetable? So that's why we do blanching. In lukewarm water, we add some salt and swirl it so that it distributes evenly in the vegetable. So after that, blanching, you put them in lukewarm water for around 5 minutes. Then you remove them. You remove the water. I mean, you tap the vegetable so that you can remove the water. Then you now start loading them into the trays. So you load them into the trays evenly. Then you just put, put back the trays into the dryer. So you have to constantly check so that to ensure that it doesn't, because if there's a lot of heat, then it's going to burn. So you have to constantly check and, turn the vegetables and ensure that it's drying evenly. So you don't want to do rapid drying. So what you're supposed to do is just to provide just some heat, but it's not rapid drying, because if you do rapid drying, it's going to burn. Yeah. So another process in drying is also about how you store the vegetables. So after the vegetable has dried, you remove it and you give it some time maybe to cool before you pack them. So you pack them in the packaging materials we have over here. And after packing these things, you have to store them in a cool and dry place so that they cannot again attract moisture. And that you will be able to eat this vegetable for even after 6 months. So this is how we are ensuring that we are preventing post-harvest losses. What we do, because it's expected that because these ones are at this point, they will the ones to dry fast. So what you do, after these ones have started drying, you have to remove them and put them on the top so that they dry evenly. So you keep on removing the one on the top, it goes down. So that's how you ensure that this one does not burn. Because once it's here, it's going to, the heat comes directly to them. So they will be the first one to dry. So you put them here so that they get some, even drying. Yeah, so you replace that one and you put them down over here. And I think you'll be able to do a good drying. In terms of the challenges as we can talk about, we can say, working with the community is quite a skill that somebody has to develop. And the community come with also their own values and belief and culture. You have to plant into what they really want. So it's some sort of a challenge now planting into the community values, the community what they need. And you have to really have these skills to manage the people. So managing the community is somewhat also challenging because, as I have mentioned, they also have what they will want to see happening in their community. So that's sort of a challenge that we have had. And also, another challenge also we could want to mention is sometimes acceptance also. Maybe dried products are things that people are not so much used to, but you have to make them understand why do we need to dry, what is the essence of drying, so that they understand that by drying this food, we can be preventing post-harvest losses and also to make them have food for the future. And as our maybe motto, the slogan says, we dry today and we eat tomorrow. I will not want to really comment that acceptance has been so much received, but for the people we're working with, because we are working with 20 households for the first, it's when we are now taking these things to the community to really make them understand. Like for today, the event was majorly to make people understand why are we drying the food. So even though we have made it look like a medical kind of event, but we know our end goal is to make people really become aware of dried products. So after screening them, we make them have a taste of what dried products look like. So this is what we are doing here. But we are hoping, because the community members we are working with, the project beneficiary, have understood why drying is very important. And because this group we are working with have understood that, because they represent the community here, we are hoping that the rest of the community will really come to know the importance of drying food. This is a project that I would really recommend to maybe be upscaled or be, done in another place, because we have proven that if you dry food, then you can really prevent post-harvest losses. And one of the agenda, or the Big Five agenda, is about food security. And if there's a project that is directly addressing food security, then we recommend it so that we can also augment the Big Five agenda that our president came up with. So there's a project that is able to help the communities and can also be done elsewhere. Our project has reached people, and we have very many people who are aware of the project we are doing. Let me talk about people who are outside the community themselves, because we even receive endorsement from the sub-county, the SCOW, we call it the SCOW. So this is a project that has received endorsement from many people, not only from the project beneficiaries, but also from people who are outside who has recognized what we are doing, because we run our social media pages and people are really seeing what we are doing, and the comments there are also quite encouraging. So it means people are really becoming aware of drying, because they have understood the concept of drying can really be used to present post-harvest losses, which can also go down to address food security, which is rampant in Kenya. Because of the drying we have been able to do, we have tasked ourselves to be able to buy these dried products for ourselves, for the project beneficiary first, to test them. And we sell one at 50 bob. So at 50 shillings, somebody can go and have a taste of dried food. So these are I'm talking about, the dried sukuma wiki. So this is the dried sukuma wiki. So this one can stay for around 6 months, as I have mentioned, you see. So it's still green. So it has not lost, the green color that some people thought like dried product could lose the green color. So it is something that is still edible, but we know that by drying these products, we can eat them some other time, and that way we are addressing food insecurity. One thing I have to mention from a scientific point of view is that we have what we call the water-soluble vitamins, which is, we call them the DEC. That can be lost. But there are other vitamins or minerals that are maintained. So that ones are, these ones are not lost. But by drying them also, you make them tastier, and it's a value addition for the vegetable. Instead of a farmer maybe just throwing away the vegetable, he or she can dry them and then eat them at some other time. So our major goal is here to increase the shelf life of this food, even though other vitamins, small percentage can be lost, but then we are trying to ensure that food is available, and that accessibility or availability of food is what we are majorly concentrating on. The utilization aspect of it is not lost, but we still have the vitamins that can be used here.
Right here, next to me, is of course Stephen. Stephen is one of our outreach youth champions, and we will be engaging him shortly so that he can of course tell us the attitude of the community towards dried food, because of course people are not used to dried food. They are used to food that of course is fresh from the garden. So if you can come with me. So this is Stephen, and Stephen will be answering a few questions. Oh, Stephen, congratulations on your milestones.
Thank you very much.
I see today you have a big day. Can you take us through what is happening today?
Yeah, so basically what is happening today is that we organized an exhibition and some sort of medical camp, because then we wanted the community members to come and learn about dried foods, but also more than that then to know the importance of eating dried foods and how that relates to their nutrition and diet. When we introduced, it's very funny, when we introduced the dried vegetables during the first few months, then people are very skeptical about it. But also because then we were producing a bit of that. So not a lot of people had tasted the vegetables. But now that we begin to produce more and more vegetables, we've been able to give a lot more members in the community, and they are liking it. More people are now receptive. You could see today that a lot of them are coming to actually buy the dried vegetables, which now we've been packaging for them. So that is a very big milestone towards how the community is now beginning to accept the dried vegetables.
Oh, and he spoke about packaging, and as you can see, this is packaged sukuma wiki. I'm sure very soon you could be seeing this in your supermarket. This is an initiative of the Outreach Youth Champions, Stephen and Kevin. Like he has said, they have lots and lots of this. And you said, how much is it going for one packet?
Yeah, so for this packet, this goes for 50 shillings.
50 shillings.
Yeah, 50 shillings only.
Okay.
The reason why it's that low is then because the community can afford it,
Okay.
but also then to ensure that they are able to actually purchase it more and more. Okay. Those who purchase, they know it's very sweet, so they're now beginning to come back to like buy more. And so that is a way of also now beginning to change the perspective of what then the community knows as the normal of vegetables. Yeah.
So the community has come to accept and embrace the idea that you can dry vegetables?
And actually eat it for quite longer periods of time.
So how long after drying these vegetables, to what extent does it extend the shelf life?
So normally these would take like 2 to 3 days if it was fresh. The packaged one goes for up to 6 months.
Oh.
So this could go for up to half a year. And if you smell it, it smells sweet because of how it has been dried. So it's able to maintain that freshness and that taste for up to 6 months, which is then what encourages now the community to buy in bulk, because we all know that the dry season is coming from January. And if they have dried vegetables now, they could be able to still have the vegetables throughout the dry season of the year without actually producing.
So we are talking of dried vegetables. So do they go buy those vegetables or do they grow them in their homesteads?
Yeah, for this community, they grow vegetables. It's something that is done in the hostel. It's almost like a culture here that people grow vegetables from their homes. So that is why we find that the community, everybody grows vegetables, and towards the time for harvesting, everybody harvests the vegetables at the same time. And then that would mean that everybody sells it at a throwaway price. But more than that, that would also mean that in the end, when everybody is not growing at the dry seasons, everybody doesn't grow vegetables at all. So if you can help them dry before, while they produce all of them, then that means that during the dry seasons, everybody has their own vegetables which they could eat. And some now, through the CBO, they could also be able to sell to others.
Great. And Kevin has joined us here. Kevin is actually working together with Stephen. Maybe another question. Now you have a CBO. What is the objective of this CBO and how is it connected to food security at the community?
The Njathaini INFO4FOOD CBO was actually as a result of this project on drying. And the main objective here is really to help preserve food. And not only vegetables. Vegetables is what we did for the prototype. However, we intend to do more than just vegetables. So we want to do vegetables, mangoes, okra, bananas, etc. The aim is to preserve food so that then people are able to eat the food later on. And this ensures then that there is no hunger, not only in this area, but also in the area of Githurai, which is where this community is neighboring. Because then they are able to have these dried foods, which can be eaten long term. And then that brings the main objective of the CBO being to be able to reduce post-harvest losses, but also to increase food availability during dry seasons.
Great. So we've been speaking to Stephen and Kevin at the Njathaini area where they are drying food, prolonging really the lifespan of food and preventing post-harvest loss. And as you can see, they have actually been able to capture the community, and the community has been able to embrace their idea. And now from this spot, we will be proceeding to one of the, a few households really, where they are growing vegetables, so that we are able to hear the testimonies from the community members themselves as they tell us about the novelty and the greatness of this idea that has been brought about by Stephen and Kevin, who are indeed INFO4FOOD. They say, you dry today,
Eat tomorrow.
eat tomorrow. And so we wrap it up here and we head to the real households where the real action is taking place. Thank you so much.
My names are Frederick Mduke Moit, a member of Njathaini INFO4FOOD, CBO. This group was started by Stephen and Kevin. When they came to us, we accepted the idea that they had, because we are farmers. As you see, I'm in the middle of my little garden here. We grow various vegetables. In this garden, you can see we've got kales, we've got spinach, and these ordinary vegetables. But there was a challenge that we actually had, which Kevin and Steve came with the idea that there is a lot of wastage after post-harvest. So when they came with that idea, we took the idea, we actually entered into a system. We helped us actually come out with the way forward on how we can reduce wastages after harvesting. As you see all these vegetables, I cannot consume them at once because I've just got a small family. We consume a few, then the rest, even if you take to the market, you can either sell or you don't sell. So that remaining vegetables was actually the biggest issue that we had. So when they came up with the idea that these vegetables can as well be dried today, then we eat them tomorrow. So they came with a machine, a dryer. We were put through and we were trained on how to dry these vegetables. We dried some of them, and I think it is only that I have forgotten to bring some of them, but there are some that we had dried for future use. And in it, we saw that these vegetables are actually very nutritious, the dried ones, compared to the ones that we just pluck direct from the garden. So when we saw it, we actually mobilized the people around, those who have gardens, and we came together. So far, I think we are around 15 people, members who are in this group, and we are actually benefiting because the one that we dry, I actually sell them to the community. And we can see the community is also picking up the idea, and I know as we continue, we shall actually make this idea reach the whole corners of this village, so that in the future we shall not have that wastage. The other part that we saw from this, we are not going to sell our vegetables in a hurry, because we shall dry them and we shall sell them, especially when there is no enough vegetables in the market. So that is one of the advantages that we have. The other advantage is we also add value, because when you dry them, we wash them. After washing, we put some little salt so that they can keep their greenness. So that when you prepare them for a meal, you shall still contain that green content in the vegetables. So the other thing that we are actually seeing that we've benefited from the group, it has made us come together as farmers who normally grow vegetables within our village. So we came together, we've registered this as a CBO, so that it can help us as individual members, and it can also help the community. That's why we came up with the idea of registering as a CBO, community-based organization. So we are very, very grateful for these young men to have come up with this idea to help the community.
Good afternoon and welcome to another household beneficiaries homestead. As you can see here, we have got very sumptuous vegetables that are being grown. You actually, if you have been following our documentary, is that we are concentrating on the urban poor populations. And one of the things that the INFO4FOOD, the outreach youth champions Kevin and Stephen have done, is of course to introduce the concept of drying into this community. But you cannot dry what you do not have. So here we are joined by Mr. Jogona, who is one of the project beneficiaries. And as you can see, he has a farm. So one of the things that Stephen and Kevin have done is to encourage farmers to utilize the little space that they have, so that they are able to, of course, grow vegetables, so that now they have vegetables to dry. Otherwise, if you don't have vegetables to dry, what are you going to dry? Mr. Jogona, how are you?
I'm quite fine.
You're fine, eh?
Yeah.
I understand you're one of the community leaders?
Yeah, I'm the organizing secretary of the group.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, so you're also a member of the community-based organization?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
So can you take us through what has been your experience?
So far tumekuwa tukiendelea vizuri juu wale vijana walikuja walianza kutufunza vizuri jinsi ya kupanda na jinsi ya kuhifadhi mboga zikiwa mingi. Tulikuwa na challenge juu wakati tulikuwa tunapanda hizi mboga zilikuwa zinabaki. Zikibaki zilikuwa zinaenda in waste. Juu hakuna venye unaweza ukizitoa zikose kuuzwa, the following days hazitakuwa mzuri. By the time INFO4FOOD walikuja wakaanza kutufunza jinsi ya kukausha mboga, tulifurahia. Juu unaweza kausha na zikae kwa muda mrefu. Tumeanza hata kufunza wengine wenye hawako kwa group but wako among the community jinsi ya kuhifadhi mboga. Juu it's like value addition. So far watu wengi wako na hii ufahamu. Tulikuwa zikiwa mingi tulikuwa tunachunia mbuzi. Sasa instead ya kuchunia mbuzi tunaweza zihifadhi na tuzikule kwa muda mrefu. Kuna watu wameanza kutuuliza how mulijifunza aje. Sasa ndio tumeanza kuwa welcome kwa group wakuje wajionee wao wenyewe. Hiyo ni kitu ambaye hatukuwa tunafahamu. Tumekuja kufahamu through kuona. Tukadry sisi wenyewe, tukapika sisi wenyewe, ndio sasa tukaanza kueleza wengine inawezekana. Huu mradi unaweza saidia. Juu by the time umechuna mboga zako na utazipika that day, unaweza zihifadhi through kudry. Na ukidry hata unaweza toka nazo hapa juu haziwezi haribika na siku 2-3 na uende nazo pahali pengine uonyeshe watu. Mimi hata mara ya kwanza zilidraiwa kwangu. Mimi ndio nilikuwa wa kwanza kupika na nikasikia ni mzuri. Ndio nikaambia wengine na tumepika hata tukiwa na wengine na tukasikia utamu wake. Bora tu ni uweke dakika 5 kwa maji, zikiwa dried uziweke tu dakika 5 kwa maji. Halafu urudi utoe ukatakate unapika tu kama mboga ya kawaida na ni tamu sana na inarudi tu rangi yake.
Tunashukuru sana kama mnavyoona Mr. Jogona is of course a landlord here. He owns some few houses and he has actually apportioned some various sections to the tenants so that now when he's not there people can be able of course to harvest food and enjoy. And as you can see, people can have food throughout the year without having to worry about anything. Because when they dry, fresh vegetables like this, they can of course be able to keep them for longer. That means next year, we are actually in November, towards the end of November, 6 months ahead. So even by May, I can still have these vegetables if they are well dried. But if they are not dried, they will not even last a day. So embracing that concept, of course, is a very nice thing. And we are very happy to be associated with this project. Labda sasa tunataka kuja katika kikomo ya hii interview. Nikuulize,
yeah.
Ungetaka kuambia wale watu wengine ambao hawajafikiwa na hii habari njema vipi?
Wale watu hawajafikiwa na hii habari njema wasitutafute, sisi ndio tutawatafuta. Juu already tumeona umuhimu ya add value addition kwa mboga. Sisi ndio tutawatafuta, tuwe sasa sisi ndio walimu wa kijiji. Yeah.
Like you have said, we are very happy to see that you have taken up the initiative. And thank you very much because of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Hakikisha kwamba umejulisha wanakijiji wengine.
Yeah.
Ndio kila mtu akue na chakula kila wakati.
Kabisa.
Tunashukuru sana.
Yes. Asante. Yeah, asante pia.
All right. Njathaini being one of the urban poor populations has benefited immensely from this project, in that the farmers can be able to utilize the little spaces that they have to be able to grow their own vegetables. The beauty of it is that when you grow your own vegetables, of course you're able to control, and you're able to know that indeed the conditions upon which you have grown your vegetables are good. And you know that indeed you're going to eat healthy food, food that you have seen yourself, you know, sprout and grow to become what it is. The interesting bit about this project is that it involves production and value addition. The farmers are able to grow their own vegetables, and those ones that are excess, you know, what could actually be referred to as post-harvest loss, is able to be arrested through drying. And this drying, of course, prolongs the life of the vegetable up to about 6 months. And with such a long life of vegetables, indeed you know that you're food secure, and you're able to have food in your homestead for longer periods of time. So we sensitize the world, I mean people from the region, and the world as a whole, to embrace the idea of drying food so that they are able to have food from January to January. Thank you so much, and let's keep food secure.